This is going to be 6. 안녕하세요. Screw it. 7. 여러분 안녕하세요. 저는 빌리라고 합니다. 반갑습니다. Do you think I can learn to speak fluently without going to an official class? Okay, our first question comes from, now you can say want and want to in Korean whenever you want to. 다음 비디오.
안녕. You just saw some outtakes from my very first videos here. Now, I don't often talk about this, but when I first started YouTube, I still had a lot of anxiety about speaking Korean. I was also camera shy, so in my earlier videos, I wouldn't even look at the lens. Instead, I would look slightly off at the monitor next to it. And this caused me a lot of nervousness, so I would have to film sometimes 5 or 10 takes for every line of dialogue just because I wouldn't be able to get it out correctly in my head as soon as it started recording. Now, I did get better, obviously, and that's what this video is for. I wanted to make this video to talk about what happened, where did this anxiety come from, and how did I mostly get over it? But in order to properly tell this video, we have to go back to when I was a teenager. Now, I wasn't just camera shy, but I was also kind of shy in general, and that's because I think I was picked on a lot as a kid. And in high school is when I finally learned to open up a bit and get out of my comfort zone. And a pretty life-altering experience for me actually was when I started learning Japanese in 2002. And I really enjoyed the language. So in 2004, I took my first trip out of the country to Japan. And when I was there, I just felt happy and I felt like I'm in a new place. I don't have to be shy here. And as a result, I would just talk with everyone. I would ask questions to strangers whenever I got lost, and it was just a wonderful experience. And the same thing happened with Korean when I started studying in 2005 and took a trip there. I was just talking with anyone who would talk with me, and on weekends I would sometimes visit these old men who were at a local park in Busan where I was staying, and I would just play 장기 with them, which is like Korean chess. I didn't even know who they were. I was allowing myself to open up and do anything that I would want to do if I wasn't shy. So fast forward now to 2012 and I've started this YouTube channel. Well, I'm much better at opening up and expressing myself to people, but I'm not perfect. I'm still very camera shy. I've never been filmed before. I'm not confident in my Korean despite being able to speak it. So I actually did a Korean audition for a TV show once, and it was going pretty well until I noticed that some people were watching me on a TV in another room, and then I just froze up after that. So I still needed to improve. I especially couldn't speak Korean in front of a group of people or anytime I felt like I was being put on the spot because I kept having that feeling that I'm being judged whenever I was speaking Korean. Okay, now fast forward to today, 2020. I am much more confident in speaking Korean. I'm not camera shy anymore. But am I perfect? No, not at all. And I hope that the next 10 years can help me to improve even more. Okay, so now let's get into the main part of this video, which is what is anxiety, where does it come from, and how do we get over it? I made a video kind of about this actually already a couple years ago together with SpongeMind and Motivate Korean, 2 other YouTube channels, and which I'll link in the description. I think the main reason why we get anxiety and why we feel really nervous when speaking in Korean is because we can't properly express ourselves. Now, in English or in your native language, you can say whatever you want without even thinking about it, and you feel smart. You can put your thoughts together. But when you're suddenly unable to express what you want or to express what you want how you want to, you feel unintelligent, and that causes people to feel anxiety and they don't want to speak because of that. So now I wanted to talk in detail about how I got over my anxiety. Here's the short version. I practiced a lot. Okay, now I'll give you the full version. Of course, what's really helped me a lot with getting over camera shyness and some anxiety has been doing this YouTube channel. Of course, making videos every single week, sometimes twice a week, really helps me get more confident whenever I have to be in front of a camera. But that's not something that everyone can do. And the other things that I did also helped a lot too. For example, I don't live in Korea. I visit Korea 2 or 3 months every year. And when I'm not in Korea, I keep up to date regularly with my Korean friends on Kakao Messenger and online. Sometimes I'll even call them. And that's been great to make sure I use Korean every single day, even when I'm not filming videos. Another thing that I started doing 3 years ago was doing live streaming in Korean a couple times a week with my Korean friends. And that might be the most effective thing that I've been doing because it forces me every week to use Korean, whether I want to or not. And it's just been great for not only getting used to being on camera, but also practicing speaking with someone, whether they're replying or not. If you're curious and you want to do that, go ahead, do some YouTube live streaming and just start speaking in Korean, make a Korean title, and I bet you some people would go see it. So I've talked now about 2 kinds of anxieties that I felt. One was just speaking Korean, and the other one was being on camera. Well, there was also a third, and that was answering the phone in Korean. So actually, in 2009 to 2012, I worked as a Korean language technical support and translator. So I would do that on the phone. And that was also every day. And when I first started, it was really nerve-wracking to have to speak in Korean on the phone, and I didn't understand what they said. But by the time that I quit, I could easily answer the phone without even worrying about it, So having to do something that you're anxious about is one way of improving it. But I want to say, don't force yourself to experience all of these at the same time. In the beginning, I could only comfortably speak in Korean with one person, and if I entered a group, I'd feel really nervous and I suddenly wouldn't be able to say what I wanted to say. So start small, start with what you can do. So that could be online communicating, like sending chats or emails, maybe making a phone call to them, meeting them in person or meeting a group, and then starting a YouTube channel, right? This is not going to happen overnight. You're not going to just wake up one morning and you're not nervous about speaking Korean anymore. In the meantime, though, you're not a failure if all you can do is slowly text someone in Korean, but you get all nervous when you actually meet them in person. That's normal. I was at that point too when I started Japanese. I could only do online communication with my friends, but when I met them, I couldn't say anything. That's normal. You'll get over it. And I certainly wasn't a failure when I was only able to have a conversation with one person at a time. So yeah, just think about that. It takes a long time to get over this. And the other thing is, you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Nobody is thinking that you're not smart if you're making mistakes. Even if you just say 안녕하세요 to a Korean, they're going to be impressed. So you don't have to put so much pressure on yourselves to speak perfectly in Korean or to be able to say everything you want to say. But I do want to give a couple tips. One is to keep your sentences short and simple. This has the added effect of helping to keep the conversation going because you're not trying to make a complicated sentence and they're waiting for you to say it, and then you feel that and you get more nervous. And it also helps you to feel more confident because you can speak Korean as long as you're making the sentences more manageable. So yeah, keep your sentences short. And the other tip I wanted to give you is to make lots of Korean friends and keep up with them regularly. I had a lot of Korean friends that I made when I was living in Korea, and if I didn't keep up with them regularly, then back in 2012, I would have already forgotten a lot of my Korean, and as a result, there probably would be no YouTube channel that you're watching right now. So I hope that some of these tips can be helpful. If any of you have anxiety, how do you deal with it? Do you have any tips for it? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching as always. And remember that I upload new videos to this channel every week. So if you like what you see, click subscribe. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.